What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, and as always, I hope you are having a fabulous week. It is officially March. We are making it through the year. Q1 is like coming to a close, not to, get all corporate on you guys, but like realistically, we're in the third month of the year. Like Q1 is coming to an end. Very, very crazy when you think about it. This year is like low-key slipping away from us. Even with the extra day last week, I was like, we are literally, it's March. Like I feel like we were just celebrating New Year's. Very crazy. I hope I'm not the only one who's feeling like that. I'm like, can this year slow down? Can we pump the brakes? Can we like back it up? Maybe, throw that shit in reverse and like get an extra few weeks. I'm like, what do you mean it's March? What do you mean? Like very crazy. So happy March. That also means it is Women's History Month. So happy Women's History Month to all my ladies out there. We are predominantly women listen to a podcast. No shocker. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy your month. I get June, you guys get March. I guess it's, it's the most that the straight people could give to us. So let's celebrate while we can. I'll drink to that. And that also means that this is our 20th episode. I know, it's insane. Next week we are legal drinking age. How crazy is that? I was like thinking about it. I was writing my outline for the week and I always title it with the number and I was like, "Oh my God, 20, that's nuts." Because in 6 weeks, that means we have done 6 months worth of podcasting, half of a year. How crazy is that? It's like obviously it's always been real, but I'm like, "Wait, this is like a real thing." I'm like, 6 months sounds 6 months is such like a long span of time, but it's really not. It's like a drop in the bucket, not to get all sentimental, but it's like that's kind of crazy to think about, like 26 episodes, we're coming up on it. Very nuts, very crazy. I don't know. It's weird. I was looking back at some of our old reels and TikToks and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I was like even just like watching them and I was like, I don't even remember exactly what this episode was about. Like I always used to think when creators or like podcasters really would be like, "Oh my God, I forgot we talked about that. I forgot that happened." I was like, "How do you forget about that? It's your show. Like it's your episode. You talked about it." But now I'm like, "Wait, I get it." Like I'm getting that podcaster like blurry mind kind of thing where I'm like, "Oh my God, you're right. I did talk about that on the podcast." And it's weird. It's very, very weird. Not a bad thing, just an observation I'm having. But yeah, we are trucking along. So thank you guys, as always, for listening. Thanks for sticking around for 20 episodes. We have a lot more to go. And it's been an interesting week. There's been some highs. I say there's been lows, but I'm really being dramatic. As always, just, a lot going on. And it's really nothing of substance, but I just like to complain. So since you clicked into the episode, before we get into our pop culture things, I just have some bitching to do and also some like exciting things to talk about. First and foremost, so if you remember a few episodes back, I was talking about the fact that I've been like getting back into my running game and I've been really trying to kind of like get a better gym routine going and focus on certain areas of my body that I really want to work on and like improve. And I've been consistent working out. Like I've been good about it for over a year now, I would say. And I enjoy it. I really do. I like working out. It's like a nice thing for me. It helps me clear my head. But I've been like, all right, I need to really focus what I do on what I want to target because the only way something's going to change is if you change it. You know what I mean? Like I needed to focus on that. So I started getting into this new routine and it's like, it's working. It is what it is. It's only been a few weeks, so it's hard to be like, "Oh my God, it's changing my life." But I I go to two different gym locations and I promise this will make sense at the end, but I go to one during the week that's closer to my office, and then I go to one on the weekends that's closer to my apartment. And it's the same gym, just different like locations, same brand, whatever. But the one near my apartment, Thomas goes to during the week. Thomas, my boyfriend, if you don't know. He goes to during the week because he works from home, so he'll go on his lunch break, he'll go after work, and he texted me the other day and was like, "Oh my God, the gym has all new equipment." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, all new equipment? That's expensive. Like, how does the gym afford?" I'm not bougie. Like, I'm not going to Equinox. Like, I'm going to a very like budget affordable gym. And I'm like, how do they afford to get new equipment? Like, when is my monthly rate going up? Like, I know it's coming, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, cool, new equipment. I was excited. So I go this weekend. This new equipment, it's obviously a good thing. I'm excited that, we're getting new things. It's a shiny new toy, stuff like that. But I can't help but think the way that this stuff is now designed, there must have been some like science or study or like something figured out because it's the same machines as before, but these shits are like aerodynamic now. And I don't know how else to explain it. Like, for example, I was doing like the pectoral fly, so like where you like sit down and you like pull the weight like And if you're watching the video, you can see I'm like demonstrating it, but you like, your arms start at the side and you pull in and then you go back. So in the past, and what I'm used to is they're just like stable rods that you hold on to. Now they like swing so I can like adjust it to my wingspan. Is that the word? I'm not a bird, but like that's my wingspan, right? I don't know. So you can like adjust it and it's all of them are like that. So they're all like adjustable to like how where you need for your body, I guess, which is obviously a good thing because everybody is different and realistically, it doesn't make sense to have the same gym equipment be the same size for everybody. Just does not like I am not using the same size equipment as like a 6'5" man. You know what I mean? Or a bodybuilder or like a 5'1" woman. Like it's just like not doesn't make sense. We all have different bodies. So I totally understand why? Am I not recording? Oh, I am. So scary. Anyway, I'm gonna keep that in. I'm not gonna edit that out. So I totally understand why this has happened. But I felt like the biggest idiot using some of the equipment over the weekend because I'm not used to it. And I literally felt like in Bambi when she's trying to, is Bambi a boy or girl? Let's go with they. When they, I'm not gonna assume their pronouns. When Bambi is like walking on the ice and can't at the beginning, that's how I felt on this new equipment. And I'm like, I have been coming to the gym consistently for like a year and change, and now all this equipment changes, and I look like a sitting duck. I don't even know how to use some of the stuff. It was so, I mean, it wasn't embarrassing, like it is what it is, but I was just like, I get into a routine. My gym must be listening to the podcast because I was just saying how I'm getting into a routine, and then they go and change the equipment. So that's that. I just was like, I need to bitch to my girls about this because I feel like you guys would appreciate it and understand. Moving on through my weekend, so that was just kind of a general thing. But we watched One Day on Netflix. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I do not want to spoil anything because I think going into it as blind as possible is the best way to go about it because that's what I did. And holy shit, the roller coaster ride that you're going to go on watching this show. If you've watched it, shoot me a DM, shoot me a tweet, like somehow reach out to me, send me a carrier pigeon, a smoke signal. I'll get back to you somehow. I need to talk about this show. Like, oh my God, it is so good. So good. You feel every emotion watching these 14 episodes. It is a show on Netflix that you're probably, wow, I'm really bad at this. It's a new show on Netflix that just came out. It's actually based on a book that came out in the 90s. And there's a movie starring Anne Hathaway that came out in like 2011, I want to say, maybe 2010, 2011, a few years ago. And I haven't read the book or seen the movie, which is shocking because I usually watch everything Anne Hathaway does, but regardless, I went into it blind. The only thing I knew was the premise of it, which isn't a spoiler because it's literally the title. The whole premise is that every episode is July 15th, I believe, every year. So they meet on July 15th, like 1988 or 1989. The next episode is July 15th, 1990 and so on and so forth. And it's just like follows these two people who I guess you could say that they fall in love, but they're not in love. And it's like this whole story. And it is just, oh my God, we were watching it, Thomas and I, and we were like, oh my God. Like, I was like, it's heartbreaking. It's like heartwarming. It just like, it throws you through this loop. And if have not watched it, I am telling you, watch it. It is an easy watch. The episodes are literally like less than 30 minutes each. It is a quick watch. It is easy. I think we watched it in like 3 to 4 days. Like we only watch it after work really, but like so worth the watch. If you have watched it and need to talk about it, feel free to shoot me a DM because oh my God, but needed to tell you guys about that. It was an experience and I really enjoyed it. And then Sunday this week, if you are in New York or follow anybody from New York, you know that we had the first official like warm day of the year. And now if you live in New York, you know there is always that first day that is like it always is like a random like weekend day. It somehow like always works out that is like everybody can be outside. It is warm, it is like spring, and it is in fact fake spring. Just like I said last week, this weather is so back and forth. It was 60 degrees and sunny 72 hours ago. Why is it torrential downpouring and like 40 degrees right now? It is so insane the way the weather works in this city. I do not understand. And I'm like, I trust me, I appreciated the day. Sunday was gorgeous. We were outside literally from like 11:30 noon until like 7 p.m. We were out until the sunset because it was so nice out. We did not want to go home. We went to Central Park, we hung out, we walked around, and everybody was out. Like usually when you're out in this park and there's so many people, you're like, "Oh my God, walk. You can't walk." Like it is so so clustered and just so many people, but it was so nice to see everybody out and enjoying the weather this weekend that I didn't even care that all of Manhattan was in Central Park at the same time because I was like, we are all in the same experience. We are all feeling this together, and it was so fabulous. We actually have another nice day coming up. So I'm like, all right, maybe it wasn't such a fake spring. It was just, a little bit of mix. It was it's going through it. The weather has some emotions, and we're getting through it together. But we had such a gorgeous day on Sunday. I'm still like reeling from it because it was so nice. Ah, I just loved it. And I can't wait for spring. I'm ready for warm weather. I'm over the sweaters, I'm over the jackets. I just want to like go outside in like jeans and a t-shirt or jeans. I'll even take like jeans and like a long sleeve t-shirt. I don't even need short sleeves. I will take a long sleeve tee. Give me like 50 degrees and sunny, that's fine. I don't need it to be 70, 80 degrees. I don't want it to be 80 degrees. Honestly, I don't want it to be really hot. But like the fact that it's pouring outside, I can't. I can't do it. I need this weather to figure it out and get it together because like it's I never realized how much the weather really like affected me until I recorded a podcast every week and talk about the weather when my whole shtick is pop culture. And I'm like, the weather has nothing to do with Taylor Swift. The weather has nothing to do with Miley Cyrus, but here we are talking about the weather again. That being said, moving on. If you're listening to this the day that I upload, you can tell the episode is a day late. So I apologize. I am sorry, but I have a great reason why. And that reason being is I had a hot date with the it girl of all it girls, Miss Lindsay Lohan. So if you follow me anywhere, you know because I don't shut up, I don't stop tweeting, I don't stop posting. But if you don't follow me on social media, one, what are you doing? Two, let me fill you in. So, Lindsay Lohan has a new Netflix movie coming out next week. It's called Irish Wish. It is two of three in her Netflix contract. So, she had her first movie come out last year. Yeah, last year, falling, or no, 2 years ago now. When did that come? Some time ago. It was like a year and a half, let's say. Yeah, two Christmases ago. So, it came out December 2022. That feels so long ago. Wow. Anyway, regardless, so that movie came out, and then this is the second one. She has a third one coming out later this year. She filmed it in Atlanta. I forget what the title is, not important, but this is the second one. She is doing a press tour. She looks fabulous on it. We will get all into that. But she had a fan screening premiere event last night on Tuesday. Yes, my days are all out of sort because I'm recording a day late. So I'm like, wait, what day is it? I'm also getting very reliant on this podcast for like my personal schedule. Like I usually record on Tuesday, so when I don't record on Tuesdays, my whole week feels thrown off. Like I am so out of sorts. I was like at work today and I was like, what day is it? Like I genuinely could not figure out what day of the week it was. And I think it's because I didn't record. Like I'm getting a little too reliant on the podcast, but I'm not mad about it. I like that. It should be. It's becoming like woven into me. You know what I mean? It's becoming a part of I guess daily, my weekly ritual. Regardless, I'm getting off topic. Lindsay Lohan had her fan screening last night for Irish Wish at the Paris Theater in Manhattan, and I was there. I got tickets from Netflix, which was so cool. I like low-key manifested it. When I found out that they were doing the fan screening, I tweeted, okay, how do I get invited? And posted it and like tweeted at Netflix. And then I got this link that was like, fill out this form for tickets. I actually won tickets through One Iota originally, which if you don't know is just like the ticketing site for like Drew Barrymore, Kelly Clarkson, Fallon, Steph Myers, Kimmel, like all of those shows, and they were doing tickets as well for it. So I submitted for that before I found this form, and then I got those tickets. Then I got the Netflix tickets, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna kick these One Iota tickets to the curb because something tells me to take the Netflix one, and I'm so glad that I did. So I went with Jocelyn, and if you don't know, me and Jocelyn met Lindsay Lohan together for Falling for Christmas Press, and we like to talk about it nonstop. So we obviously had to go to this. We did go to the Falling for Christmas premiere as well when it happened, which was a blast. So I knew this would be fun too. And it was such a cool event. They have this time they had a green carpet. They do little popcorn boxes. They do like memorabilia tickets. Like it's just like such a well put together event. And we had so much fun. The movie was so good. I am such a sucker for a rom-com in general, but when Lindsay Lohan is starring in it, I'm obviously gonna love it even more. It was the perfect rom-com. It was like a little sprinkle of cheesy, a little sprinkle of romance, a little sprinkle of comedy, and a whole lot of Lindsay Lohan. Like, what else could you ask for in a movie? Personally, checked all the boxes. It was so cute, so good. Now, stay with me. It is a Netflix rom-com. It is not an Oscar-winning, life-changing movie. But it is such a cute, easy, like fun throw on movie just to have like a nice little movie night with yourself or with your girls or whoever. It is just like the perfect recipe for a rom-com. And it just continues to prove that Lindsay Lohan never misses a beat. She is always just like just always everything she does is just I'm gonna eat it up every single time. And maybe that's just me, but like I just fear like if you don't think everything Lindsay Lohan is in is great, I think you're the problem. And maybe that's like my own self-reflection, like me, maybe I am the problem, but like in my eyes, you are the problem. So sorry about it. But the movie was great. Lindsay looked stunning. She has been looking so fantastic for this press tour. Even the Falling for Christmas press tour, I was like, oh my God, she looks so good. This one, she looks fantastic. She's like glowing. She has that new mom glow. I love the bitch so much. We are like fully in this new renaissance of Lindsay Lohan, the Lohan-essence, if you will, and it is so cool to see her making a full comeback. I feel like we don't talk about, well, I do, but I feel like we as a society need to really reflect on the fact that like Lindsay Lohan has lived so many lives in the public eye, and we are seeing this comeback with from her. She's been doing it for a while, like it's not a new comeback, but she's just been like on this up and up for the past few years where she really just like took everything she went through in the early 2000s. She had a rough patch. You know what I mean? Like she was living her life, doing her thing, like shit happens, whatever. She took like she made the most out of her situation, I will say. Like she genuinely took such a shitty situation that she was in and just like obviously like not in the best place. She was in a dark place. Like she had a lot going on mentally in her life, a whole lot happening, and she has just like come out on top, killing the game, just like fully just like not even rebranding herself, just like showing so much like growth, evolution of herself. Like, oh, it is so admirable. I just love her so much. Lindsay Lohan, you will always be famous. Lindsay Lohan is the it girl of all it girls. I can't say it enough. I genuinely like, I just love her. I love her so much. Not to mention the fact that we knew it was happening. Like, it's been confirmed for a while. I have friends who told me, like, hey, I know this is happening. Like, they work in the industry. Like, they confirmed it. Jamie Lee Curtis confirmed it. We've known for a while. But she officially confirmed that Freaky Friday 2 is happening. And hearing it from Lindsay makes it so much more real for me because, like, hello, nothing but respect for my Anna Coleman. Like, come on, like it's coming from Lindsay, like it's real. It's happening. It's not just like a figment, it's not like an idea, it's not being workshopped, like it's happening. We are getting Freaky Friday 2, and I'm telling you right now, I'm annoying every week. I'm going to be cranked up 10 times more annoying when this Freaky Friday 2 promo, announcements, whatever it is happens. I cannot wait. I am so excited for this sequel. But before that, we do get another Lindsay movie at the end of the year, another Netflix rom-com. So thrilled for that. But it is just like we are so lucky to be alive at the same time as Lindsay Lohan. We really are. I don't know how else to put it. She just, oh, I just love the bitch so much. I had so much fun at the premiere last night. The movie really was so cute, so good, just like a fun watch. So it comes out March 15th on Netflix. Make sure you tune in. I'm sure you guys will love it. It's just like the audience was all laughing. We were all like gasping at the same things. It was just like, you know, when you're at a movie and you can tell everybody in the theater is enjoying it and feeling it and had that same energy, like we all were laughing at the same jokes. We all were like gasping at the same things. We were all cheering for certain parts. It was so good. If you like rom-com, you're gonna love this movie. So stay tuned for that. Irish Wish, March 15th on Netflix. You heard it here first. And that kind of wraps up my up to speed. I actually got through that a lot faster than I expected. So love that for me. Anyway, moving on to more of our actual pop culture things. You guys know the drill. First things first, Drew releases. So these are our releases from last week in the music world and our upcoming releases, the upcoming ones. You guys already know. But we're not going to jump the gun. We are going to go into our releases from last week first. So, starting off strong, we had Charlie XCX releasing Von Dutch. She also announced that her album will be coming out this summer. It is called Brat. It is like a house fun party album, and this single was the perfect like depiction of what she is going for. she's been teasing Von Dutch for a while. So it's been, we knew what it sounded like. We knew the premise. We knew what was coming. And it quite literally was nothing that different from the TikTok sound that's been going around. Like it's very much that TikTok sound and like a few more words on it. It wasn't anything crazy, but I'm loving it. Such a fun party vibe. If you've never been to a gay club in Manhattan, listen to the song, close your eyes, and just like imagine you're in like a sweaty room. That's what a gay club sounds and feels like. I'm telling you right now, this song is the epitome of Hell's Kitchen on a Friday or Saturday night. I was like, I can smell the tequila in the air, I can smell the poppers, I can feel the sweat on everyone. Like it is literally what a gay club feels like is this song. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Cannot wait to hear it at a club this summer. Can't wait for the album. Miss Charlie XCX knows what she's doing and she knows how to hit her target audience, the gays. We love you, Charlie. Moving on to another gay, Ollie Alexander, Years and Years, released Dizzy, his first single, in a few years. It's been like a year and a half, 2 years, but Dizzy is out, and I loved it. He just releases such fun music, like there's just like a fun beat to it. There's a just like a feel good song. I just loved it. It was so good. Loving that release. Next up, we had Fletcher, Doing Better, which is the second single of her upcoming album. And again, I loved it. I love the little shout out to Miley she had. One thing about Fletcher is like she's not afraid to like reference a very specific moment in her life or like time, with somebody. Like she is not afraid to just like be like, here's who I'm singing about. Here's what I'm singing about. Here's when it happened. Here's how I felt. Here's how you seemed to me. Like she is so just like ready to just be like, okay, yeah, here, like there's no guessing with her. She is very much just like, here's what happened, here's how I felt, here's a song. And I love that. I appreciate that for her. Sometimes when an artist releases a song and you have to really think about like, what is this about? What are the lyrics? What's the song about? When did this happen? Who is this about? It's like, it's fun. It is a kind of like a puzzle, but it's also just like, bitch, just tell like we get it. Your girlfriend cheated on you. Like, just tell me. Like, I appreciate that Fletcher doesn't hold back and she will literally just like give the full story, point blank, period, in black and white text. Another great release from Fletcher. I'm so excited for her album. Her last one was so good, and I'm very, very excited for this next one. Moving on, Miss Miley Cyrus and Pharrell. So we talked about this last week, and I told you guys how this was a leaked song, but Doctor Work It Out did come out, and I'm loving it. It's such a fun vibe. Again, we've heard it a while ago, like it leaked and it wasn't anything new, but it was a new record and there was some new stuff on it. So, in all honesty, I don't remember fully the leak when it came out because I didn't save it and like listen to it much. I remember hearing it a few times. I remember it on Tumblr going around. There was like that full, if you remember Tumblr back in the day, like there was that full master post of all the bangers leaks. Can we also let's like pivot for a second? Who remembers when Miley's iCloud got hacked in like 2014 and all of her photos, her text messages, a lot of these songs all got leaked? Do you remember that night on Twitter and Tumblr? That was fucking crazy. Like, it's one thing for like an album to leak or things like that. Her entire iCloud getting hacked and like posted about, wild. Why? I remember being so afraid to even like click on anything because I was like, are they gonna know? Like, it was 2014. It was like, we don't really know like what's going on, with so like it was celebrity culture online was still kind of new and like it was I don't know, it was just like a different time for Stan Twitter. If you even want like Stan Twitter was a thing, but it wasn't what it is today. Like it was such a moment. And if you were like in the Miley fandom and like a Miley stan back then, you remember it was wild. There was this like it was out of nowhere too. It was just like Twitter blew up, Tumblr blew up. It was all of these songs, all of these pictures, a lot. And like then the fan who hacked in and like or got all the info did like a tell-all expose of like how it happened. And she actually like I forget exactly if she worked with Miley or like I think she might have just been like a big fan that Miley used to be like very interactive with her fans. And I think this fan just used to get like a lot of like attention from her. So I think she got like close with Miley in that sense. And I don't remember the exact story. Now I feel like I'm like, oh my God, I'm blanking. I should have known this, but it just hit me while I was talking about it. But that was crazy. If anybody else remembers that, let's talk about it because that was fucking nuts. But Doctor Work It Out did come out and I'm loving it. Such a fun sound. I mean, you can't go wrong with the Miley Pharrell track. I said it last week too. The ones they did for Bangers that did make the album, smash hits. This one, smash hit. I don't know if this is going to be on like a new project for Miley. I don't really know what to expect as like if this is like starting a new era or she's just like releasing a song because she feels like it. Regardless, I'm loving it. Keep it coming, Miley. Do not ghost us like you usually do. Just go off the map. Please keep feeding us. Keep on feeding us. Give us more because we are ready for it. Moving on through our releases, Chloe Bailey released FYS, Fuck Your Status, and another one, just a solid song, a fun R&B tune. Like, if you haven't listened to Chloe and Halle's Ungodly Hour album, ugh, a piece of work. It is fantastic. They're allegedly releasing music this year, so I've heard in the pipeline. So if that happens, mass collapse. But for now, Chloe did release this single. And she's just talking her shit. She's like, I don't care about your money. I don't care about your diamonds. I don't care about your car. Just love me. And you know what? Good for you, girl. Stand your ground. Tell the boys what you want. She's not fazed by your money. She doesn't want your money. She doesn't care about your cars. She just wants to be loved, and we love Chloe. So I'm very excited if she's releasing a project. I loved her debut album. It was so good. Her tour was so good too. I went to the Terminal 5 show, which if I go to Terminal 5 for a show, it's a big deal. Like it has to be an artist that I genuinely like love and like need to see to make myself go to Terminal 5. Like I would genuinely rather skip a show than go to Terminal 5. So for me to go, it's a big deal. If you know, you know. If you're from New York, you know. Like it is just the most unenjoyable venue you could possibly perform at. But her tour was great, her choreography was great. So any project from her and her sister, I'm always going to eat up. They're literally Beyonce's prodigies. Like, obviously, I'm going to buy every single thing that they sell. Next up, we had a Kacey Musgraves release, Too Good to Be True. She also performed on SNL this weekend. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But again, loving the track. She is definitely like leaning more into this like country, her like original kind of vibe, that like slowed down country kind of feel. Not country and like yeehaw, but like country and like I don't really know the word for it, but I'm loving the sound. I'm liking the direction for the album. She also did an interview and she said she was like, I think this album's gonna be good for the gays. They're gonna have to sit, hydrate, and relax. So I think it'll be a good like breather for them. So I'm guessing in that sense she's being like, you guys need to relax. She's giving us a breather. She's like, you guys, you got the divorce album, you guys got Golden Hour. Now you guys sit down, have your water, put the tequila down. The gays need a chill out moment from Miss Musgraves. And honestly, I'm here for it. I'm very excited. Loved the lead single, loving this. I am very excited for this album. It comes out very soon. I'm really excited for that. And the final one. So, out of all of these songs, I loved them all. This last one, and it pains me to say because I really wanted to enjoy it and like it, but Cardi B, like what freestyle just didn't do it for me. It just felt messy and like again, it was a freestyle. So I feel like the word freestyle has kind of taken like a back seat in a sense. Like you don't really know what is a freestyle anymore. Like a freestyle is supposed to be like, all right, you get on the mic, you get a beat, you just start rapping. And this did genuinely sound like she had nothing planned, but you just never know. But I just wasn't vibing with it. Did not like it. What the lyrics, like everything, just like not good. I literally like listened to it and I was like, ugh, and I deleted it from my library. Just I hope this is not what the album is like panning out to be. And I love Cardi. I do. Like I really, really like Cardi. I loved Invasion of Privacy. Like such a good album. I've seen her live a few times. Like I love Cardi, but this just did not do it for me. So that was unfortunate. But you know what? You can't win every time. So I'll be ready for your next single, Cardi, but this one was a chop for me. And that covers our releases from last week, but we do have some very, very, very exciting releases this week, starting with Girl in Red. She is releasing the title track to her upcoming album. We're doing it again, baby. It comes out this week, and I'm so excited. Her last release, Too Much, is probably like top three favorite releases of the year so far. I'm obsessed with it. I have had it on repeat since it came out. And so when I talked about it on the podcast a few weeks ago, I was like, if this song is any indication of what the rest of the album sounds like, I am sold already. So to get a second single from it already, I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to it. I do have really high expectations, but I don't think she's gonna let me down. I like her last album I was obsessed with. This single was so good. I'm just like, I don't think she's gonna let me down, and I'm so stoked for this song. So it's coming out, I think on Thursday. So the day if It's either Thursday or Friday. I think it's Thursday. So the day that this is released. So we will talk about it next week. But New Girl in Red is coming up. We are also getting new music from Flow, which if you're not familiar with Flow, get familiar with Flow. They are so good. It's a girl group from the UK. I believe they're bigger overseas, but they're definitely having like a moment here. They had a big moment last year and they're kind of just like still up and coming. They are so good. They're kind of giving me that like Destiny's Child, 3LW, TLC vibe. Like they just have that like that R&B pop hip hop kind of feel to them and they are so good. They're releasing a new single called Walk Like This Friday. Cannot wait for that. Very, very excited. They're also performing at Gov Ball this year, which here I am again manifesting that I will get tickets to Gov Ball. I haven't bought them yet because I am manifesting in some aspect working with them or getting tickets. It's gonna happen. I've been on this manifestation train lately, you guys know, and I am just you put it out into the universe and it's gonna happen. So, Govball, I'll see you soon. Flo will be there. Very excited for that. And the final big release, the biggest release really of this week. Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine, drops this Friday, her seventh album, her first album in 4 years. I feel like I've been talking about this for so many weeks, and it is finally coming. I am so excited. I'm like bursting at the seams. I cannot wait for this new Ariana Grande album. She did a listening session for it with some fans last month. We just found out, and all of them, I mean, they're Ariana stans, but they all were like, no, guys, like this album is incredible. I am so excited. She did a Zane Lowe interview, which is coming out tomorrow. She did the second part of Zach Sang is coming out. She's on SNL this weekend, and she's presenting at the Oscars on Sunday. Like there is so much happening in the Ariana Grande sphere, and I'm so excited. The album comes out on Friday. I'll be posting about it over the weekend. I'll be talking about it next week. I cannot wait for this album. And those are our releases coming up this week. As always, I always add the new releases to the Drew Releases playlist, which can be found on Apple Music and Spotify via the link in my bio. Something new that I've been doing, if anyone noticed, I've been adding every release into the playlist. And then what I do is by like the time I record the episode, I take out the songs that I didn't like. So for example, I took out the Cardi song yesterday because I was like, all right, done. Because I want the playlist to be like my favorite releases from the year. But I realized I was like, I'm advertising on my Instagram and the podcast all of these songs, and if I'm not putting them all on the playlist, I'm not really giving everybody like a fair game to listen to what I'm talking about without like doing the work. And like I'm telling you guys about these songs, I can do the work and add it to the playlist. So what I'm doing from this point forward is I'm gonna add all of the releases to the playlist. And then by the time like the next episode comes out, the ones that I don't like, I'll delete and you'll know because I talk about them the following week. So that's gonna be my new game plan. So you can always find the new releases on Fridays in that playlist. And then they're gone if I don't like them by the next week. I think that's a good little system we have going on. But that is the new music coming out this week. I am so excited. March is just like a very big month for music, and I'm so excited. Oh, I cannot wait. Anyway, let's hop into some pop culture topics because there's been some stuff happening, and I definitely, yeah, I have some thoughts. So first and foremost, this Noah Cyrus and Tish Cyrus drama is so bizarre to me. So, if you haven't seen or don't know the story, Tish Cyrus got married a few months ago to Dominic Purcell. He is an actor. He was in Prison Break, The Flash. He's an actor. They got married a few months ago, and everyone kind of had speculation that there was drama within the family because a lot of the siblings weren't at the wedding. Like Miley was there, Brandy was there. I think Bryson was there, but I'm not 100% sure. I know for a fact Noah was not at the wedding. There's also been drama. Realistically, there's always drama. I feel like within the Cyrus family, between just all of those personalities within one family, there's obviously going to be like some tension, but like there was drama with Billy Ray and his new fiance, and I guess Noah and Miley had beef, and there was just like always something going on with the Cyrus family. I honestly can't keep up, and I'm saying it right now. Within like 10 to 15 years, there's going to be like a tell-all expose about the Cyrus family. Mainly, I feel like focusing on Billy Ray because like something about him just gives me a weird vibe. And like the more that we learn about him and the more that like comes out about him, I'm like, this dude's kind of weird. Like there's something off about him. So yeah, so that being said, Tish Cyrus is married to this man, and it is now coming out that Noah, her daughter, who is 24, 25, had a previous relationship with this guy. So just like, what the fuck? So Tish is now married to her daughter's ex. fling. And it was unclear if they had dated or if it was just like a friends with benefits relationship thing, but there was some type of connection between the two of them, and now he is married to her mother. I like I, I I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin. I just I don't know who to like look at either. Like it's not Noah's fault. Noah was of age, like she was when they were together. Like it's not like she was doing anything shady or like secretive, but like Miley apparently knew. I don't know if Tish knew, but I'm assuming she like knew or like there's no way this man didn't like mention it to her. Like there's no way, right? There's no way this is the first time Tish is hearing about this. So if she knew about this and then married him, like that's weird. And I love Tish. Don't get me wrong. I love Tish. I've met Tish like a handful of times. She's always been so sweet, so kind. Like I know she's like not a bad person, but I'm just like this is weird. Like I don't know. It's just like something about the story isn't adding up. And whether it's like Noah flubbing about like what actually happened, him not, maybe he didn't tell Tish the full story. Like maybe he like didn't give her the full like rundown, the full 411. Then it came out today that like Miley was aware of their relationship when it happened. So I don't really know what to make of this. I just feel like something's weird. Something is not adding up. And there's been like news stories about it every few like days, like something else comes out about it. And I feel like there's going to be another like week or two of stories before we finally find out like the true real story of what happened. And I am seated. I'm seated. I'm ready. I just also I'm sure Miley's happy to not be the one in the headlines for once. Like she's finally like, okay, you guys can finally make some news and make some noise for the family because she's been carrying them on their back for years. So just very interesting. Very interesting, very shady, some weird shit going on with those Cyruses. And I love them. I love the Cyrus family, but like, I don't know, very strange. Moving on to some other shady and strange things. Have you guys seen this Queer Eye expose of JVN? Very, very, very sus. So, this Rolling Stone article came out yesterday or 2 days ago, pretty much saying that like JVN is a nightmare to work with on set. He's like had a short temper. He like doesn't like he does not respectful. Like just like pretty much like saying he's not a good person. And when I first read that, I mean, okay, when I first read it, I was like, there's no way, like, no way he da da da. And then I was like, okay, why am I lying? Like, if anybody in the cast is gonna be like rotted, it's gonna be the one who's like spreading positivity. It's gonna be the one who's like, oh my God, rainbow and sunshines, and you're gorgeous, and you're this, you're that. Like, girl, come on, like, we're not dumb. But I'm just like, holy shit, like, there's a lot coming out now about Queer Eye. And I was obsessed with Queer Eye. I still watch it. I still like it. I know like most people kind of fell off, but we'll watch it like when a new season comes out. And it's still good. Like, it's still a good show, but it definitely isn't what it was when it first premiered. Obviously, like that first season, even the second season really had like such a hype behind it, mainly because it was like a a new era for this beloved TV show from the 90s or the early 2000s. So it was like a big deal. And it was such like a heartwarming show, and it still is. Like they really do such beautiful stories on the show. But and like obviously they're fabricated. Like obviously it's not nothing on the show is 100% true. You know what I mean? Like it's TV at the end of the day. Yes, they're doing it to like help these people, whatever, but like come on, like it's obviously not all like rainbows and butterflies and ponies. Like there's obviously some like weird stuff going on behind the scenes. And there's been some speculations about the five of them for a while and like who's actually friends. And like there's been rumors that like this person can't stand that person. I'm pretty sure like Tan and Karamo like do not get along. If I remember correctly, Tan posted a photo of the five of them and tagged everybody but Karamo a few months ago. One of them, I can't remember, one of them got married a few months ago and like only one of them was invited to the bachelor party. Like it's very clear that they are not friends off of this show, and I'm not like surprised by that because when you really like break it down, actually, I was listening to the Toast today, just another podcast if you're not familiar, and they were talking about it, and I was like, wait, yeah, they have a good point. Like when this show started, all of these men were like in their 30s, like had established friendships. They weren't like young people who were like still looking to find themselves. Like they were very established in who they were and what they were and like who they wanted to surround themselves with. So to put 5 30-year-old gay men or like late 20-year-old gay men in a group and be like, go be friends, go make a TV show, and you're going to be famous, and like all this stuff at once. Like, it was kind of a recipe for disaster when you really break it down. But the biggest thing that really stood out to me, so this is Bobby's last season, and allegedly, now I read this on Twitter, so I don't know if it's true, but and the Toast talked about it today as well, actually. So there's got to be some legitimacy to it. Allegedly, Bobby didn't re-sign his contract under the impression that everybody else wasn't going to re-sign their contract. Everybody else re-signed their contract, and Tan and Anthony suggested their friend, who's an interior designer, for the show. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I'm not saying like this is what happened. This is just what I'm hearing. And if that's the case, part of me is like, oh my God, that sucks. And then part of me is like, damn, that's kind of fucking genius. Like, they're like, we got to get this guy out. So let's all tell him we're not signing the contract and then get our friend in. Like, I know it's not a good thing to do and I know it's wrong, but like, part of like I'm a gay man. Like I see what they were doing. You know what I mean? Like maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know. But like regardless, kind of crazy. And I feel like there's gonna be a lot coming out about this story in the next few weeks. And I am as much as just like the Cyrus story, I am seated for it. I feel like there is much to come from this, and I cannot wait to see how this one turns out. Moving on from the drama, some Eras Tour news because what would an episode of this show be without talking about the Eras Tour? We had another variant of the Tortured Poets Department announced this weekend, and it is the last one. So there's not five, there is only four, and this one is called The Black Dog. Now, to me, I was like, all right, like I'm kind of getting over sleuthing. I'm like, it's getting a lot. Like I'm like, I can't keep doing this like, oh my God, this means this means that. But the one thing I will say is something that's very interesting is that all four variants of this album, so the manuscript, the bolter, the albatross, and the black dog, the four of those are also bars in the UK. Now we knew the bolter was one, but somebody did discover that there are four bars that are named after that. The only significance that I can think of the four of those things being tied to a bar is the fact that in Delicate, like I said a few weeks ago, she makes a point to call out the dive bar on the east side where you at. So obviously, like bars and dive bars were her and Joe's thing. Joe never wanted to be seen, so they obviously weren't gonna go to these like posh places. Like she wasn't going to Zero Bond with Joe Alwyn. He like that was not happening with their relationship. So obviously, like they were very much on the vibe of like, okay, we're going to these little bars that no one really knows about. Like they probably were very like low key when they went, which is not the vibe that she's feeling now. So that being said, that's the one thing that I will say is very like I could see that being the theory, but other than that, I'm like, okay, the rest of the theories are gonna have to come when the songs come out because like it's getting a lot. It's getting to be a lot, sleuthing and dissecting all of these variants. So we're just gonna wait until the album comes out to figure out what the four of these bonus tracks mean. But we do have all four of the variants now, so I don't know what's next for her. I don't know if she can announce anything else. I hope to God she doesn't because she's already like announcing another Eras Tour movie version. Like there's so much coming out with Taylor. I'm like, girl, let's pump the brakes for a little bit. Like you the capitalism is never gonna stop. Like it is just gonna keep going. And I'm like, girl, let's pump these brakes. And that's me saying that with love. I'm not one of these people who is like, oh my God, she's money hungry. I could give two shits about the money hungry thing. It is just so much to consume. And I'm someone who loves to consume media. So for me to say that, that's saying something. But the album is coming out next month, which is very exciting. Realistically, that is Taylor's new album is on the absolute back burner of my mind right now because we have so many other things happening before that. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But that being said, if you are looking for a way to celebrate the album coming out next month, my girl Julie at Fangirl Fantasy, they are hosting three launch party events for it, one in New York, one in Richmond, and one in Seattle. So there are three events happening. They are all on the date, or actually, I'm sorry, they are on New York and Richmond are on the 19th, so the day the album comes out. Seattle is the week after that, and they are Tortured Poet Department release parties. So if you're looking for a fun way to celebrate the album, Fangirl Fantasy is always a blast. Head over to their Instagram. It's fangirl_fantasy. Buy your ticket. It's going to be a blast. I'm sure I'll be at the New York one, and I cannot wait. But that being said, we will cross that bridge, like I said, when we get there. Moving on to some other concert news, Nicki Minaj has kicked off the Pink Friday 2 tour, and I have to say, I'm genuinely impressed. I was very skeptical of this tour. You guys know, I was very like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? Like, where are we going with this? And I have to say, I'm very impressed. There are some things where I'm just like, come on, Nikki, like, get with it. But For the most part, the visuals are sick. She did a really good job with the visuals and the stage. Her performance could be a little bit better. She is into it. She's having fun. She is dancing, but there are some parts where it's just like low energy. But I think at this point we just have to accept it. Like Nicki Minaj is not a performer. She's very much just an artist, and like performing isn't her biggest skill set. And I don't think that's like a bad thing for me to say because it's been proven so many times. There's so many technical errors. She has low energy on stage sometimes. And that's like not everybody can be Beyonce. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, she's this, she's that. But she has a track record. But I will say, I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far from the Pink Friday 2 tour. I still am on the fence on if I'm going or not, just with everything. I don't know. She just like, you guys know how I feel. So I obviously still love Nicki. I'll always be a Barb, but there are some weird things happening with the tour. But I will say I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far because it is the bar was below the ground and the bar is a little bit above the ground now. She's definitely she brought some stuff to the table. So kudos to you, Nicki. Proud to see that you didn't just like let this one fly in the wind away from you. Moving on to some TV stuff, SNL was this weekend, and Sydney Sweeney was the host. Kacey Musgraves was the musical guest. Sydney's monologue was so good. It was hysterical. I think like the biggest thing to take away was where she said, "You've probably seen me in Euphoria, but you definitely have not seen me in Madam Web." Hilarious. And then the whole little Glenn Powell moment where she was like, "Oh, there were rumors about me and my co-star, but my man has always been there to support me. As a matter of fact, he's here to support me tonight." And then they pan to Glenn Powell. Just hilarious. Like, I don't know if they're doing it still for the plot. Like, I don't know what's going on with them, but I'm buying into it. Allegedly, they're working on like another movie or they want to do another movie together. So I'm here for it. I still haven't seen their movie that they did together, but it is on my list. I believe it's on streaming now, so I'll have to check it out because everyone's saying it's just like such a good movie and I love a rom-com, so I definitely need to check that out. Loved the monologue, but unfortunately that was the only part of the episode that I loved. The skits just like weren't skitting. You know what I mean? Like they weren't great, they weren't that funny, and it's not Sydney's fault, it's the writers, essentially, like, it just kind of fell flat, it wasn't great, and, like, I'm not, like, a big SNL person, I don't watch it every week, I don't really watch it live ever, to be completely honest, I only ever watch the skits, like, after, because, like, I'm not staying up late for it, I think the last person I stayed up for SNL was Dan Levy in, like, 2021, and that was rare for me. I was just like, you know what? I love Dan. Let me stay up and watch it. It'll be good. Other than that, I really don't stay up for it. I love the show. I think it's a great show and like I appreciate it. I just don't stay up for it often. I usually catch it the next day. So that being said, I just didn't, I don't know, the skits they weren't that great this week. And again, it's not Sydney's fault, it's the writer's fault, but I don't know, missed opportunities, I felt like. I will say, Kacey Musgraves' performances were great. She is just a star. She actually just announced her tour. She's coming to Brooklyn in November, so I'll probably end up getting tickets for that because I'm sure I'll love her album. And she's just a great performer live. I've seen her a few times, and every time I have a blast. So will definitely be on my radar. But Kacey did great. Sydney did what she could. That was SNL for the week. Again, this week coming up is Ariana on SNL. Gonna be major. I'm so excited for that. Moving on to some more performances from the weekend. The Brits happened this weekend. Again, not gonna even lie, I did not watch it. I didn't watch the show. I just caught the performances after. Mainly Dua Lipa and Tate McRae. Thank God for pop stars. Thank God for main pop girls. Dua Lipa with this training season performance with the acrobats or whatever, the people like floating down from the ceiling, then she was up in the air. Dua Lipa saw people dragging her for that Jingle Ball performance a few years ago and said, never again. Absolutely not, never again. I'm going to be the best dancer. I'm going to be the best live performer. I'm going to give them a show every single time. And she sure does. That Brits performance was so good. I absolutely loved it. And I am so ready for this era. Nothing new really for her on the horizon right now. She kind of released these two singles and we're just kind of waiting for what's next. But I'm very content with these two singles. Loving them. So excited for this new sound. Obviously, the album's coming sometime this year. We just don't know when, but I'm not mad about not having a release date because of the fact that like we're getting so many albums in the next few weeks. Save us, like save it for the summer, give us a summer smash, and then we'll take it from there. But Dua was fantastic. Tate McRae, oh my god, this bitch. Now, there's been some discourse online about her saying like she goes on stage, she sings 6 words and dances the rest. And I understand what you're saying. And like, yeah, would it be nice if she sang the whole song? Sure. But do you see the way she's dancing on stage? I want you to go up on stage and dance like that and try to do half of the amount of words that she sings. I don't care if she goes on stage and doesn't sing a single word. The bitch can perform, and I am here for it. She has everything that a pop star needs. She can sing, she can dance, she has the look, she has like the style, everything. I am obsessed with this bitch. I don't even care that I'm pushing 30 and I'm obsessed with Tate McRae. Like, she is everything that we needed in a pop star, and I'm obsessed with it. This performance was so good. If you have not seen it, go watch it. It don't stop the episode though. Finish the episode and then go watch it. Add it to your list. But it was so good. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Just fabulous performance from the two of them, and I am eating up everything that they are selling this year. We are so lucky to be alive at the same time as these pop girlies. Moving on to some other TV news. Drag Race. So it's a new day in the workroom, and the girls have a mini challenge, and they are doing spit takes, which is kind of gross to when you think about when you break it down. They're literally like spitting at each other, but it was also kind of funny at the same time. Like I was giggling while they did it, and yeah, it was just funny. They essentially had to get it to quick drag, take a sip of water, Brew would tell them a joke or something, they'd have to do a spit take. Whoever had the best one, which I don't really know how you judge a spit take. Like, I was like, what is the criteria for a spit take? Is it like distance? Is it like how much sprays out? Is it your reaction? Like, there's got to be some like rating scale that RuPaul is like mentally deranged enough to come up with, to measure this. But they did it, and Nymphia won. Now, if you remember last week, I said I think Nymphia was in the bottom last week because she was gonna have like a hero story character arc this episode. So when she won the mini challenge, I was like, oh bitch, my prediction is coming true. She is going to win the mini and the main challenge this week, and I was so ready for like the Nymphia windification of Drag Race again. But we'll get into that in a little bit. So Nymphia wins that, and then the main challenge this week is another design challenge. So the girls are they have to put together a gothic kind of like an Addams family kind of vibe. So very Wednesday Addams, Morticia Addams, black, gothic. They're in their emotions, kind of thing. So the week goes on, the girls are doing their thing, and the real main thing that I took away from this week, which I think most people would agree with, is there's two things. So first is Plasma struggling so much in the workroom. It's sad to see someone who is so talented struggling in a way like that because they are out of their comfort zone. And then Dawn tells her to do something out of what she's used to, and like tells her like, hey, like, why don't you try something new so you're not doing the same thing with the judges? And some people are saying that that was Dawn sabotaging her, but I genuinely don't think Dawn was trying to like get in her head and like tell her like, hey, do this, and then in her back of her head being like, because you're gonna go home. I think Dawn was genuinely trying to be like, hey, don't look like a Hollywood glamour star again. Do something different. And unfortunately, it completely backfired. But we'll get to that in a little bit. The other big thing that happened in the workroom was Saphira helping Maya pretty much make her entire dress. And it was just like, to me, it's sticky because going to Drag Race on season 16 and not knowing at least how to like put together some type of garment, even if it's the most simple tube dress, something. It could be the most simple slip dress. You just need to know how to put something together and match it to the theme. It could be the same dress you did the week before in the design challenge. Like, just do something. And like, when you find out you're going to Drag Race, I don't know the timeline of like when you get the call to when you have to pack, but like, if you're applying for Drag Race, you should be getting your skills gathered, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a drag queen. I don't know. I can't. I mean, I can sew, but I'm not making a garment. But like, I don't know the exact, timeline. I don't know these girls' lives. But Maya pretty much leaning on Saphira to completely make her dress. I was just like, girl, come on. That being said, the dress comes together, and I really did like the concept of the dress. There were some things that I think could have been better, but again, Maya couldn't even like put the dress together herself. And this is no shade to Maya. I enjoy Maya. I really do. I like her. I think she's not the most polished queen, but like she'll turn a fucking lip sync out, I'll tell you that. But like, this is no shade to Maya at all. I genuinely enjoy Maya. I like her. I'm happy she's still on the show. But it was just this like, we're in the top 8, like, and you're asking somebody else for help right now. Like, Saphira was so generous in helping her, but I was just like, girl, come on, like, And then, I mean, Michelle clocked her. Michelle said, you can't sew. How did you make this dress? And they called her out. So moving on the runway, my favorites of the week were at Nympia, obviously, Q, Dawn, and Morphine. Morphine, not so much for her dress, but her makeup. It's just like, it's so impressive to see how she can take her makeup and apply it to so many different challenges and still look drop dead gorgeous every single time. It was so good. But really, like, to me, Nymphia this week, that look was so sick. She looked so cool. I loved the way that like the headpiece kind of like made that illusion, the whole like gothic vibe, like it kind of gives that like mystery. Like she almost looked like she was going to like a funeral and she was like her husband just died, but she actually killed her husband and she was covering her face because she wasn't actually that sad kind of vibe. Does that make sense? She was like her face was like almost fully covered, which the judges, well, Michelle had a problem with, but when she pulled it away, you could see her face, and I mean, the girl was beaten down. Like, she looked so good. I loved Q's runway, though I don't think she should have won. I do think Nympia should have won because I really wanted that hero arc for her, but alas, Q did win. Very well deserved. She is so talented. She's so good at making her costumes and making her gowns and everything, and it is impressive that she can make a dress like that in the amount of time that they give them. So, congrats to Q for another win. Dawn was also so good. I loved that chandelier look she did. I do wish there was something that like differentiated the black on black. Obviously, it was a gothic challenge, so she couldn't do anything too crazy, but I would have loved if it was like I don't know, if like underneath was like maybe sheer or like the chandelier part of the dress was like sparkly or something, just so it was like more obvious that that depth was there because it was really, really cool. Even the judges were like, how did you construct this? Because it was like very uniquely done. And I thought it was so sick. And then again, Morphine I already talked about. So those are my favorites from the week. And the bottom ends up being Maya and Plasma, which I do agree with. I mean, I think Maya automatically gets put to the bottom because she didn't really make her dress. It also wasn't anything like that groundbreaking. It was cute. Like it was a good dress, but it was like, okay. And then Plasma. I mean, this looked just like the second she turned that corner, I was like, Mama. It just was not great, and it hurt because I know she was in her head about it. I know that she knew it wasn't good. Like, she's not a delusional queen. Well, she kind of is, but, like, she's not delusional in the sense where, like, she thinks she looks good all the time. Like, she knew she didn't look great, and it just kind of hurt because she's so talented, and I will say she has come such a long way, or I guess came a long way because she did go home, but she came such a long way because if you remember back when the season started, the first 2 to 3 episodes, I was not feeling her. I was like, mm-mm, nope, not for me. And then once the Rusical happened, I feel like that was really my turning point where I was like, oh wait, this bitch knows what she's doing. Like she's very talented. So I took everything back and I did really appreciate and enjoy Plasma, but she did end up going home, but not before they lip synced to fucking Bloody Mary by Lady Gaga, which you might originally think I would be stoked for because that is such a good song, but it was the TikTok version, the sped up fucking Wednesday Adams, Bloody Mary TikTok version, like Alvin and the Chipmunks version. Can you imagine if they would have done the regular Bloody Mary? That song is so in itself already dramatic and has so many like not fun, but like so many like opportunities for like a sickening moment in a lip sync. Like there's the scream before the second verse. There's like the beat leading up to it, like the little intros, like the do 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 do. You know what I'm talking about. But like there's so many opportunities in the original song for like a sickening lip sync. So the fact that they did the TikTok song, I was like, I guess they spent all their money on Break My Soul for episode one, so like I get it, but it was just like, come on. I would have loved a Bloody Mary lip sync to the original song. But Maya flips and twirls and cartwheels and does this and that, the third, and she ends up winning the lip sync, which was very well deserved. There is a lot of discourse online, and it is predominantly from the white gay men who tend to be like the worst part of the drag race fandom. And I am a gay white man, but I do not associate myself with them because I at least have like a head on my shoulders, you know? And unfortunately, it does usually come with a touch of racism with these gays, which just there's no room for that on this podcast. So automatically, no. Um, a lot of people were mad that Plasma went home over Maya because Plasma does have a better track record than her. That is a fact. But it is not a track record for your life. It is a lip sync for your life. They did bad. They both did bad during the week. Maya outperformed Plasma to such a different degree. And like I said, I liked Plasma. I really did. I liked them both. But at the end of the day, the rules of the game is whoever is better in the lip sync stays. If it was based off a track record, they wouldn't bother with the lip sync, and whoever was in the bottom of the week, they would just pick who stays based on their track record. So all of these little Twitter gays bitching and moaning that Maya is still on the show and Plasma is not, I hate to break it to you, Plasma wasn't winning the season to begin with. Plasma was not going to win, regardless of if she made it to the top two. It just, and that's no tea, no shade, nothing. Like, I am just being real with you guys. Like, the caliber of talent on this season is so high between Nymphia, Q, Saphira, Dawn. Like, I hate to even say it, even Plain Jane is doing so well. And Plasma did great too. Plasma had a great track record and a great time on this show. But I didn't think Plasma was gonna win. Like, I'm realizing now that some people were rooting for her to win this season, and that just never fit my fantasy. So maybe I'm at fault there, but I don't know. Just that discourse I had no time for. Moving on. The Traitors. So not much to say about this week because realistically, it is getting down to the wire, and we are like 1 or 2 episodes away, I believe, from the finale. But we do find out that John was murdered. And he obviously, he's off the show. The challenge for this week, they're like digging for gold and then like jumping on wood across the lake to get to the scale. I don't understand where they come up with these challenges. Realistically, I'm like, who writes this? I say it every week. I'm like, where do they come up with these challenges? I need them to, after the season's over, release it with literally just like the breakfast debrief, finding out who was murdered, and then like any conversations during the day, and then the end round table, and like just cut that because like realistically the challenges, I'm scrolling Twitter the whole time, and it's not that it's bad. Like, I am listening, I'm paying attention, but I just want to see them fight at the round table. I just want to see these traitors lie to their faces and like betray them, you know what I mean? That being said, they dig for gold, they do whatever, da da da, whatever. Kate starts this campaign. Now remember, Kate is a traitor. Phaedra recruited her 2 episodes ago? Yes, 2 episodes ago now. Kate is trying to turn people against Sandra and is saying, like, oh, maybe she's a traitor, maybe she's been lying to us the whole time because she's obviously trying to protect Phaedra. But then when it comes to the round table, she completely turns and votes out Phaedra, which everybody does. Like, Phaedra's everyone, I said it last week too. I was like, the jig is up for Phaedra. Like, everybody knows Phaedra is a traitor and she has like 1 episode left and she is done. And unfortunately, the queen of the season, the mother of all season, she did go home. Phaedra was voted out, but she played such a good game. Such a good game. And I am just like, ugh, I loved her. She was so good. And I'm very curious what's coming next. We only have one traitor left, and it's Kate, but there's no more murders left in the castle. So no more murders. I guess it's just like maybe one more banishment, and then it's whoever wins from there. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out because I don't know if they're on to Kate or not. I think they might have like a inkling, but I don't know if they're 100% sold. So if Kate is smart, she will campaign against somebody else and really try to get these people to believe her so she can get to the finale and win the season. But TBD, I think we have 2 episodes left. Again, such a good season. I really am obsessed with this show, and I cannot wait for Thursday to see what happens next. And that is the end of our show. We have made it to the end. And if you are new here, we end every single show with my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I'm loving, my mess being something I'm not loving. And we always start on a high note. So, my yes. Now, before I go into this, I need to preface that I'm not necessarily obsessed with the actual, like, the scam of it all. I'm just obsessed with the lore of it. And like, I'm a Delaney, our, verified Taylor Swift correspondent on the podcast, she put in a good point. She said, I'm obsessed with the mess of this. And that's exactly how I need to lead into saying that my yes for the week is this Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow. Holy shit. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've heard about it. It is everywhere and it is hysterical. Essentially, there was some like pop-up advertised of a Willy Wonka experience in Glasgow that was supposed to be this like kind of imagine like Disneyland for Willy Wonka. So like an interactive experience you could walk through, kind of like when they do like those pop-ups of like they just did like the Barbie cafe, like they do those little pop-ups for movies and stuff. That's what it was giving. And the images look sick. until you find out that they were generated by AI. So people bought these tickets, they went, they were ready for this experience, and when they got there, I mean, you just have to look it up for yourself. It genuinely looked like Willy Wonka's meth lab. It was so I don't even know the words. I like even the actors who were there who were hired to be like Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas and whatever, they even were like, we got our scripts and it was genuinely just gibberish generated by AI. Like they didn't even know what was happening. They just were like they were like actors looking for a gig and I guess they found this probably like a Craigslist ad, whatever like they have over there, signed up for it and went to work and they even were like, what the fuck is this? So it got to the point where like, people were showing up and realizing how bad of an experience it was, and they were calling the police to report this place as a scam. And honestly, I need a documentary. I'm sure it's going to happen. I need the full story of like what they thought was going to happen when people showed up to this. It was so rinky dink, like just I don't even have the words, and I'm so obsessed with it. The biggest thing for me is like the Oompa Loompa who's going viral is now on Cameo, and she is just profiting off of this, which you know what? Good for her. Good for you, girl. You are making lemonade out of lemons. You are making the best of the situation. And I'm just that picture of her standing behind like the counter or whatever. I can't. I'm fucking obsessed. It is so good. And I just like, I need a tell all. And I feel like we might get some type of like, not like a full documentary because it's not like Fire Fest where people were like stranded on an island or anything, you know? Like it was a mess, but it wasn't to that extent. But I think like maybe like I don't know, like some type of like TV special episode of just like what the hell went down because I am dying to know who started this, where it came from, like what they thought was gonna happen when people showed up. Like, did they think people were going to like be excited to walk through this meth lab? It was so insane, and I'm fucking obsessed with it. I can't get enough. It is so fucking funny to me. So that is my yes and my mess for the week. Now, this is something that is a little, I don't even like, I don't even know where I'm going with this, to be completely honest. But if you were on Twitter at all this past week and in some type of fandom, I'm sure this tweet came across your desk. But it was some girl in the Renee Rapp fandom exposing other fans for making fake meet and greet wristbands. Now, if you were listening to this and you're like somebody who is not deep into stan culture or a fan, like, or have never been in it, like, I'm still in it, but not to that point anymore. Like, I used to be in this point where I would make, I guess I shouldn't really go on record saying this, but in my past, I might have made a fake wristband or two here and there. But you know, we were young. We were teenagers, we were in our 20s, like it was whatever. And like people doing it now, like I could care less. Like do whatever you want. I don't do it anymore. I haven't done it in like 5 years. I'm past it. It is just like a rite of passage in a fandom to like sneak into a meet and greet or two or like, you know, do to like scam the system a bit. Is it right? No. But like you're not doing anything. I guess maybe it's a little illegal, but you're not doing anything like harmful. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. I'm not saying do it. I'm not saying like to do it, but it happens. It is what it is. This girl fully exposed her friends in a group chat for making fake wristbands. And now it's one thing to do it and like not be okay with it, but there is nothing worse than a snitch. To go online and like literally rat out all of these people for doing this. They are not like, I just thought that was the biggest loser energy I have ever seen. I don't understand like what she wanted from it. Like, I don't know if she thought she was gonna get like praised for it and like Renee's team was gonna like thank her and do something for her. Like, no, you just like ruined the fun for other people. And like, again, I understand that it's not like the best practice to like do, or you know what I mean? And like, it's definitely not as easy as it used to be. Like realistically, it used to be easy to just like slap on a wristband and walk in. They do make it harder now, and like that's why like the energy to me isn't worth it. Also, I'm just like I'm past that. Like there's no artist that I've met all of my favorite artists except for Beyonce, and like that's not gonna happen. Maybe it will, who knows? But like it's not gonna happen in a meet and greet setting like that. You know what I mean? So like to me, I'm just like, okay, like I've done my job. I'm like an elder stan now. I did my thing. But like This girl fully ratting them out, posting screenshots, screen recordings. Kid, if this would have happened in one of my group chats in 2019, 2013, like any of the years where, like, especially like the Jonas Brothers fandom, anyone listening who knows, you know, if this would have happened back then, you would have been crucified. They would have ran you off Twitter. They would have literally made you delete your account the way people would have came for you. And like this girl did get a lot of shit. It had so many quote retweets. And even I was like, I try to not get involved in fandom drama anymore. Like I try to be a bigger person, but you know, sometimes you gotta just like put your 2 cents in. And I was like, the fact that you are literally ratting this out, like this is a rite of passage in a fandom. And the fact that she fully exposed these girls, loser energy. And that is my mess of the week. That is my mess. Just don't be a rat. Like, let people do what they want. If it's not harming you, mind your business. It is that simple. And with that, that is the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Two Pop to Handle. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're listening to us at a podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you're thinking. Subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below. As always, make sure you're following me on all of my socials. We are at 2pop to handle on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, the whole nine. I've also been posting a lot more on my personal TikTok, which have been a lot of fun. I've been vlogging, which is kind of giving a background of like what I do. I get a lot of questions, honestly, about like what I do for work. And also just like I think it's interesting to see people giving like the behind the scenes of like making a podcast and things like that. So I've been doing a lot more vlogging and just like having fun on my personal TikTok. So if you're interested, go give me a follow over there. It is just at Andrew Nucatola, Nucatola. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.